Hey there, Modern Math Teacher. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Math Teacher podcast. We are doing Poolside PD episodes right now. Those are those bite-sized episodes designed to give you just a little taste on if you want to make a change in your classroom, what it might be like. So I am really excited about today's topic because it's one that I don't get to talk about often. We were recently asked about how to use mastery-based grading and how to use all of these kind of new modern practices in a STEAM classroom. Y'all, I live for making cross-curricular connections in my math class. So a focus on STEAM is right up my alley. We all know our students are always asking us, when am I ever going to need this? And guys, when you create those cross curricular connections and you are intentional in your lesson design and planning, whether you are fully a STEAM teacher or you are just working with best practices, then that is where that answer comes to life. So, is it getting hot in here or is it just me? We're going to get real steamy in this episode of Poolside PD. And we are talking specifically about integrating some of these best modern practices into a STEAM focused classroom. So let's first of all talk about what it is for it to be like a mastery based classroom, because that was what was asked in the Modern Math Teachers class. So remember, mastery based, we've talked about different grading practices so far this summer. That's actually been our hot topic this summer is grading. So I love hearing that, you guys. Remember, mastery-based grading focuses on ensuring your students are achieving proficiency in those clearly defined standards. In a STEAM classroom, this approach is going to emphasize like a deep understanding and application of interdisciplinary concepts. Remember, that is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. That is STEAM in a nutshell, I guess. So the key principle here is that you, as the teacher, can focus on your strengths in content areas for assessment purposes, while still integrating various STEAM disciplines to provide a well-rounded educational experience. I frequently try to pull in as much as I can from the other courses, right, to bring mathematics to life, because real math isn't just in a silo. So I assess my students on their math content understanding, but I never shy away from integrating as many other content as I can. So let's talk about a couple of challenges when you're going cross curricular and when you're thinking STEAM and all of that stuff. So, challenge one is navigating the multiple disciplines. Right? But there's just a lot going on there. Challenge two, utilizing technology effectively. And challenge three, maintaining clear standards and feedback and letting your students know what you're actually assessing them on. Okay. All right. Let's unpack those just a little bit. So, one of the main challenges that teachers face is navigating the multiple disciplines within STEAM. You don't have to integrate all of them at once, right? But it can feel overwhelming to assess all of the areas that you are including effectively. So, even if you're just including one additional content area, for example, if you're doing something like the rocket project where we are incorporating physics, so that's science, we also incorporate a little bit of technology in there. You really could dive deeper and focus on getting some engineering in there as well if you really want to talk about rocket design. Whew, guys, sky's the limit on that one. No pun intended. Anyways, so it can feel overwhelming to assess all of these areas effectively, right? We want to include them all because it makes it real and the learning is so much richer, but it's challenging. So what I want you to do when you are thinking about this is I want you to focus on your strongest content area, and that's the one that you're going to assess. That's the classroom that you're actually teaching. Don't be afraid then to collaborate with colleagues who can support you in the other areas. Remember, friends, teamwork makes the dream work. So I often collaborated with my colleagues all the time, particularly at my project-based school. Both formally, like in our first launch of that rocket project, where we combined, like I said, math and physics in the study of projectile motion. We also connected to English through the reading and analysis of the Rocket Boys. And that was just amazing, right? Full cross curricular, all the different classes were working on it, but you can also be cross curricular or STEAM focused just within your own classroom. And if that's the case, you want to do it maybe more informally through chit chat with your colleagues about how their content area works and how it could be connected to yours. Maybe they have a great video or resource to share with you so that you can include that discipline. You're not assessing on it, so it's okay that you aren't the expert, okay? You've got to just understand that you don't have to be the expert in everything. You just have to be the expert in what you're assessing them on, because that's the only way to make sure that that is fair. All right. So, again, navigating multiple disciplines, incorporate as much as you can, only assess what you are responsible for. You can give them informal feedback on things, but their grade shouldn't depend on that. All right. Challenge two, utilizing tech effectively. We have tech so so regularly intertwined in our classes these days. So, another sticking point that teachers face when they're thinking about a STEAM integration or like a cross curricular is thinking about how to use that technology effectively. So, with so many tools and platforms that are out there, it can be really daunting to know where to start. Um, One great way that I like to use this is using either AI tools, right? They're kind of newer, but they like AI tools like Brisk or Diffit are really great for taking those readings of the things that you are not the content expert in and making a interactive resource to use with that. So super love that. You can make, like word webs and things like that. Puts it on Google Docs. So definitely check that out. I also really like virtual field trips and using community experts. Okay. So you can use technology to go on virtual field trips, which is super cool. You can take your students through these guided tours. Amazon has a whole bunch of them. You can also use things like Zoom to connect with experts in your more local area. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to chat with you via Zoom, just to teach students more things. Like they love reaching out. It's fantastic. So these resources can help make your lessons way more engaging and interactive, and they help connect your students with the material in more meaningful ways. So don't use technology just for technology's sake. Make sure you're really intentional with it. Okay. So again, AI tools are really cool for content area that you don't teach. You can use it for like making things too, right? Like maybe they make their own website. Maybe they make a podcast like I've got going on here. Maybe they use a 3D design because you're working on Steam and that includes art and you're building things in Tinkercad. I don't know. Sky's the limit on that. But make sure that you are using it effectively and intentionally. Don't just throw it in there for no reason. Okay. All right, and challenge 3, maintaining clear standards and feedback. We've talked about this in a couple of different episodes, so make sure that you are providing clear standards and providing really meaningful feedback when you are working in a cross-curricular way. So you want to clearly communicate your standards and emphasize the continuous feedback and growth for the content that you are assessing them in. Okay, that approach is going to help students understand what's expected of them in terms of the entire activity that you're doing, and then also what's expected of them for their final assessment of that activity if you're using it as some sort of a assessment tool. Okay. So we walked through more on that subject in episode 53, switching to standards-based grading, if you want to know a little more about feedback and stuff there. So let's talk about some practical tips if you are working on becoming more cross curricular within your classroom, whether that is a full STEAM classroom or not. So, again, first, you want to make sure that you are focused on your strength, and that's what you are assessing on. Assessing students based on the content area you feel most confident in or that you are charged with, right? Like, so I only assess them on their math content knowledge in my class. That's what their grades are based on. I don't assess them on how well they understand the physics and projectile motion aspects of it when we're building a rocket, right? That's part of it. I want to see their design. I want them to reflect on it, but I don't assess them on that. So focus and assess based on your strengths or your key content area. You can use interdisciplinary projects to cover lots of other areas, and don't hesitate to leverage support from your colleagues and community resources because you do not have to be the expert. So focus on your strengths, assess from your content area, and remember you don't have to be the expert. Lean on others to help you round out that knowledge. 2, make sure when you are thinking about going STEAM or cross curricular, you are thinking about how you are going to intentionally integrate your technology. Remember AI tools, things like Dreambox and Khan Academy, they can provide personal learning experience. I mentioned Brisk and Diffit as ways to take content that you are not the expert of and to make it more student friendly. So think about how you're going to use that. You can also do virtual field trips through platforms like Google Expeditions, Discovery Education. I believe I mentioned Amazon already. And you can take your students on exciting explorations without ever leaving the classroom. So cool, so fun. And always make sure that you feel comfortable bringing in community experts. If you are allowed to have experts come into the building, it's way cooler for students if they do come in. But if you can't, you can always do it via Zoom, again, using your tech intentionally. So this not only enhances the learning experience for your students, it also shows students the practical applications of their studies. So again, it ends the, Miss, when am I ever going to need this? That expert, that community resource can be the living testament to when they might need this. So that's super cool too. And as always, make sure that you are, if you're using mastery-based grading, that you are creating and communicating clear standards for your students in that, and that you are assessing them on the content that you know. So emphasize the importance of feedback and growth over simply just achieving a grade anytime you are doing something like that. Whew. All right, you guys. So for those of you who are interested in exploring STEAM education further, some great resources for you. STEAM Makers, Fostering Creativity and Innovation in the Elementary Classroom by Jacie Maslyk. Oh gosh, I don't know if I said that right. That's a great book that was recommended for me to share out with you guys. Also, Edutopia's STEAM section for articles and resources. Edutopia is my jam. They have the best bite-sized everything, so go check them out. Binge all of the different articles that you want on that. You can also visit the ISTE website, so that's the International Society for Tech and Education, for a lot of cool tech integration ideas. Whew. All right, you guys. So I love cross-curricular things. I'm really excited that you want to bring more than just math into your classroom, because I believe math is so much more than just solving for X. And I love hearing that those of you in the community are working to integrate more than just math practices into your classroom alongside your new modern teaching approaches. So time for me to pin it. Time for me to put a pin in it for today, you guys, clearly, because I cannot speak anymore. Today was a fun one. I love talking to you guys about all things cross-curricular, all things STEAM, all things new and cutting edge. If you have questions about how to make a project you have more cross-curricular, or where to find more resources, or how to connect with experts, for sure, reach out to me on all the socials at More Than Just X. Thanks so much for joining me for today's one. Ooh, was a quickie. I love it. So remember, math can be so much more than just solving for X, and you can cover so much more than just math inside your math classroom, because you want to keep the learning real, relevant, and rigorous. All right, guys, until next time, keep enjoying the sunshine, keep soaking that up, enjoy your break, and as always, keep it real. Bye, guys.